First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my family after they went no contact for 1 year? I am 23 female. My family do everything together. My family, my mom, 50 female, and dad, 50 male. My older brother and sister, 25 female and male. My older sister, 24 female, and my little brother, 21 male. My mom stayed at home with us and took care of raising us. As siblings became best friends. We were really close. When they wanted to borrow clothes or electronics, I never said no. When they needed money for something, I would give them what I had saved up. The incident. A little after I turned 22, my parents called us on Zoom for an emergency family meeting. My father looked really mad, and my mom was on the verge of tears. My little brother was sitting next to them. He still lives at home, and he explained that he couldn't find his envelope with money, around $3,000. I was really confused as to why this was an emergency, so I asked if they thought someone had stolen it. Everyone was looking really awkward and weird, looking away from the camera and not making eye contact. Finally, my older brother said that they knew I was having money problems. I was floored. I had asked my older brother for a loan a few months ago. I needed a computer, which I dropped because I got a computer on my birthday. I tried to explain that I needed money for a computer. My dad flipped and started screaming horrible things at me, saying he knew I stole the money because I was creeping around my little brother's room at my birthday party. Not true. I was coming out from the toilets when I bumped into my dad. Anyway, my dad said we wanted nothing to do with me, and that they were all going to go no contact until I confessed. Then they all ended a call. I tried to call, but I was blocked. I went to their house in the middle of the night in pouring rain and they wouldn't open the door. I was completely broken. My family was ready to throw me away. I tried for months to come to contact, but all I ever got was, "Are you ready to confess?" And when I said no, they would ignore me. A year later, my mom called. She asked me if I could come over for dinner. Everyone was sweet and nice. They had made my favorite meal. I sat down and started crying because I couldn't understand. My dad explained that my older brother had confessed. He had taken the money to fund a pyramid scheme he had gotten involved in. He was too embarrassed to admit and let me take the fall for it. My older brother was seated at the table, and that bothered me for some reason. I asked my family why it was so easy for them to throw me away like that, but they can't go no contact with my older brother. My dad told me to just forgive and forget, and everybody can make mistakes. I just got up and left. I blocked everyone and ignored them. Just give them a taste of their own medicine. But I can't help but feel bad. Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my family after they went no contact for 1 year? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They showed you that you were disposable to them. You would be much better off making no contact a permanent idea, than spending the rest of your life walking on eggshells in case they decided to make you a scapegoat and discard you again. Good on you for blocking them. I don't think it can be said any better, really. Plus, they're just like, oops, never mind. Don't make a big deal of it. Not even admitting what an awful thing they did. Not the a-hole. If they can throw away their daughter without evidence, they don't deserve you. Yeah, I would have huge problems with this. This is such a heartbreaking situation. And to gloss over the difference in how they treated you versus him, and how your brother just throw you under the bus like that, and how your mom can just no contact for a year. When you wrote about standing in the rain, I legit wanted to cry. Your dad doesn't get to go the forgive and forget routine after destroying your family circle for a year. Not a a-hole. I'm sorry. And I'm usually one who offers grace to family, but I have a hard time seeing how you all heal and move on. I don't know if I could just come back from that like nothing happened. They obviously don't trust you at all, and to think of all the holidays and birthdays you missed because of it. Not the a-hole. What kind of parents block their kid from their life just because they suspect some wrongdoing without any proof? Even if you were guilty, they should have openly talked and helped you out of the mess. Your brother stole the money, pinned the blame on you, blocked you from the family, and is now pretending like nothing happened? And your parents don't seem to have asked you for forgiveness either, and are fine with your brother's behavior. If you don't cut them out now, you are just going to be in for more emotional manipulation in the future. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for being mad my mom told her husband my dad isn't my bio dad? My mom got married 11 months ago. Right before the wedding, I, 16 female, found out my mom had told her husband that I am not my dad's bio daughter. Back when my parents first divorced 5 years ago, I asked her not to tell any future boyfriends or husbands because it's not something we broadcast, and it's not something I really want people to know. I also brought it up again when she first met her husband. I always hated people asking about my real dad and stuff. My dad is my dad. He stepped up when I was 7 months and even adopted me when I was 3 after he and my mom married, and he never treated me any different from my siblings who are his bio kids. Then I found out 2 days before their wedding that my mom had told him. He told me and my siblings about him being excited to be our new dad. I said he wasn't going to be our new dad because we already had one. Then he told me that if I could accept my dad and he could accept me, why couldn't I do the same for him and his kids? I asked what he meant, and he said it was no different than my dad not being my real dad. I was so mad. My mom told me she couldn't lie to her husband. I told her then women up and tell me she wouldn't do the one freaking thing I asked of her. Ever since, I can't even look at my mom. I barely talk to her. I feel so damn betrayed, and for it to be thrown in my face like that is the very reason I didn't want it revealed. Her husband thinks I'm being such a problem child, and he still believes him marrying my mom when I'm 15 and have a dad is the same as my dad stepping up when I'm 7 months and raising me and adopting me as soon as he could. He thinks my dad isn't my real dad, but acts like he could be. They think I'm being a brat for holding this against her and not caring anymore about our relationship. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole for feeling betrayed. A good father has nothing to do with being bio. It's being there. When you come down, you might want to explain to new husband that it's not about/against him. He might be a great stepdad, but he won't be your dad. The dad that raised you. I have no suggestion for your mom. I think she should apologize to you for breaking your trust. I don't think the mom is the a-hole here just for telling her fiancé/husband. It's also a part of her personal history, and this person is her husband, not some random boyfriend. People talk about their past relationship with spouses. It'd be super weird if that came up later in the marriage and he didn't know. Mom is an a-hole for marrying someone who would say such an awful thing to her child. It's a poor judge of character and/or a total lack of concern. Not the a-hole. Then you guys' reaction pretty much sums up why you are right to feel the way you do. There are 3 men who might conceivably claim the title, and only one qualifies. There's your sperm donor. There's the man who raised you from an infant. And there's this new guy who thinks he can just take possession of you at age 15, like signing the pink slip of a car to a new owner. Parental role by new adults in a child's life is earned, not assumed, and the fact that he believes he can just step into those shoes when you already have someone to fill them makes me think he's going to be really bad at it. I don't think your mom is an a-hole for telling him the whole picture, because as one of the responsible adults in the house, he needs to understand what he's getting into. But she is the a-hole for taking his side and for thinking you're being a brat about this. Yep, that attitude is basically going to ensure that he and Dopey never developed any kind of decent relationship, let alone the fatherly relationship the stepdad wants. The stepdad's the a-hole here, as his mom for backing him on his BS. OP is not the a-hole, but unfortunately this conflict is probably going to continue for as long as mom and stepdad are married, because stepdad doesn't seem like he's going to ever see reason in what he's doing wrong, and is going to continue to demand to be OP's dad. What a jerk. Not the a-hole. Your mother violated your trust. If she felt this strongly, she should have talked to you before telling him. Her husband also seems to have issues, being so pushy and needy. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my brother-in-law out and reporting my therapist? Let me explain, even though I don't like to talk about it. I, 25 male, was involved in an auto accident. I was the one driving and lost my dad who was with me at the time. I had untreated post-traumatic stress disorder for nearly a year. I couldn't speak about it to anyone. My sister got me in therapy 2 months ago because she said that I needed it. This is our first holidays without dad, and I wasn't intending on doing anything this year, but the family decided to come and spend time with me. My aunt, my cousin and her kids, my sister and my brother-in-law and my mom. My brother-in-law started bringing up the accident in detail, exactly the way I describe it, like he heard it from me, and the number of sessions I've attended so far. brought up the name of my therapist and asked if he's the one I've been seeing. Then, he started asking me how I'm doing, / if my therapy sessions are benefiting me or not, / and telling the exact time I got into therapy. And then casually said that I shouldn't tell people that I feel responsibility for what happened, implying that I told my therapist that. I was taken aback. I asked how he knew all that. My sister said she didn't tell him and I didn't tell anyone. My brother-in-law looked confused when he noticed how upset I was, and said that it was a coincidence the therapist happens to be one of his friend's brother. He's known my therapist for 5 years and that's how he knew, since his friend said my name sounded familiar. I was shocked. Everyone was looking at me, and my aunt started talking about me telling everyone about the accident. I was so infuriated I found myself lashing out on my brother-in-law, and he started talking about how I need to deal my anger issues, disregarding that he told the entire family about my sessions. After arguing with him and listening to him blaming me for how I reacted, I ended up telling him to leave. My sister sided with him, then they both left. My aunt defended him and said that I shouldn't have yelled at him and hurt my sister's feelings, that he was just worried about me. I was so mad, especially when they all started guilt-tripping me and berating me for what I did. I sent my therapist an email telling him what happened after I couldn't get a hold of him, and mentioned that I will be reporting him and file a complaint against him for disclosing information without my consent. So far, I haven't heard from him, and what bothers me is that I'm not close with those people, and hearing them gossip about me like that is not okay. My brother-in-law has always been like this, but it never occurred to me that he'd do this. The family said I ruined dinner for them, and that I overreacted and was lashing out at everyone for no reason. I feel terrible. They said they gathered to comfort me and I caused a scene. Now for the top comments of this post. Not a-hole. Your therapist definitely should be reported and hopefully lose their license. Therapists should never be sharing their clients' names, much less going into detail about what the clients are sharing with them. The people who ruined dinner are the people who decided to spend time with you, and then did not stop your brother-in-law from deciding to share what is going on with your therapy to the rest of your family. You rightfully wished that your privacy be valued, but he couldn't be bothered to show you that respect. The person who ruined dinner was your brother-in-law, and everyone who sided with him. You're right. Part of me believes he did it on purpose. This isn't the first time he gets involved in personal matters, and I'm not sure if he shared with other friends and how long they've been gossiping about what I've experienced. Not a-hole. I'm sorry this happened to you. You're not the jerk at all. Your therapist violated your confidentiality, and that's a very serious thing. Report them and let them suffer the consequences. Focus on your betterment, and it doesn't matter what others say. You didn't ruin Christmas. I really hope you're able to find peace someday. I know my brother-in-law. He's always disrespecting my boundaries, and to even think about him talking to people about personal stuff like that is incredibly infuriating. And they tell me that I need to control my anger. They're blaming me for how I reacted, and they still have no idea that I'm now having an issue with my therapist. Not a-hole. Report the therapist and cut ties with your brother-in-law. If that means sister goes too, that's her fault for siding with brother-in-law. I'm hurt by what my sister did. She immediately took his side and tried to make it seem like it wasn't a big issue since this is my family, and that her husband was just worried about me. I appreciate everything she's done for me to help me out, but this hurts me a lot, and she doesn't even understand. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for being mad at my siblings? I, 24 female, have a baby boy. This was his first Christmas. 4 days ago, I got a gift for him from my sibling's mom. This woman is not someone I have communication with, and I had made it clear to my siblings I did not want her to know where I live. My siblings are 20 male and 19 female. I sent the gift back and told them they had no right to go against my wishes. They were pissed that I would return the gift. I said she was not part of my son's life or mine anymore. They told me I had no right to be mad. She's their mom, etc., and they called me a witch. The background of their mom? My parents divorced when I was an infant, and my dad married their mom and had them. He died when I was 7, and their mom wanted to keep sharing custody time with me. My mom said no, and their mom went nuclear right in front of me, claiming she was as much my mom as my actual mom was. My mom said a sibling relationship could continue, but she was not going to co-parent with her going forward. Then, their mom asked my mom to name her my guardian should something happen to my mom. My mom did not, which she found out when I was 13 after my mom died. My grandparents were named as my guardians, and again, their mom went nuclear. Only this time it was on my grandparents. I lost my cool with her the day she went nuts. She was saying evil things about my mom to my grieving parents and me. I said some equally harsh things to her, and I told her to leave me alone because I wanted nothing to do with her ever again. The relationship with my siblings was maintained via our dad's family, and I have avoided their mom ever since. She has tried to reach out through them, and I always told them I wasn't interested. Then, when they both moved out as adults, I gave them my address and stuff, and I told them never to give that info to their mom, which they did. So Reddit, tell me, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. This woman sounds terrible, and your siblings are old enough that they should respect your opinions, thoughts, and feelings. Not the a-hole. I don't know how much louder you can be, when clearly that woman is too ignorant to respect the boundaries you have set for a reason. Someday, she'll get over her denial at being your replacement mom, which she never has been and never will be. Not the a-hole. It is clear you have very strong feelings concerning their mom, and you have very clearly set boundaries of no contact at all with her. You have been clear with your siblings and they crossed that boundary. They need to respect your wishes. More than likely, they do not know exactly why you want no contact. It doesn't matter, as it is your choice, and they have to either respect it or have no contact with you. The things she said to your mom and about your mom must have been devastating to you. It enraged me. She had refused to let me call my mom to come get me the day my dad died. He died while I was with him, and that was so hard. Then she goes and talks so much horrible things about my mom who had just died, and I couldn't contain it anymore. Not the a-hole. This woman's obsession with you is very disturbing. Your mother was wise to set boundaries to protect you after your father died. You have every right to decide whether or not you want a relationship with your half-sibling's mother. You have decided not to, and they acted against your wishes. This woman sounds controlling and manipulative. I actually feel sorry for your siblings. I can't imagine they had an easy childhood being raised by this person. I think at the very least, she's very needy and entitled. Either way, like you said, my mom made the right choice, and I'm glad she didn't listen to her. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you with the next one. Stay safe.